Right, onto this now. Trade, Industry and Competition Minister Pak Stau has jetted off the country to lead South Africa's delegation to the United States this week to persuade the U.S. Congress to extend AGOA benefits. The trade delegation, made up of leaders from the private sector, civil society and organized labor, plans to put its best foot forward at the 21st AGOA Forum, following some strained relations between the two countries of late. Ntokozo Khumalo has more.
The United States is South Africa's second largest trade partner after China. The Department of Trade, Industry and Competition hopes to keep it that way by expanding the African Growth and Opportunity Act, an American government initiative dating back to March 2020. Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield says the thousands of goods exported duty-free from South Africa to the U.S. has benefited local businesses and the economy.
This trade is worth over 20 billion rand, where we benefit disproportionately to the tune of about 16 billion rand. So we have a trade surplus with the United States, and we value that trade relationship.
Whitfield, a member of the Government of National Unity through the Democratic Alliance, says while the delegation will focus on strengthening and deepening trade relations with the U.S., Team South Africa must tread carefully as the relationship between the two countries have been strained by the Ukraine-Russia war and the Gaza conflict.
You may be aware that there is some hostility currently in Washington. And so we are also going there to allay any concerns that those in Washington may have regarding our partnership, so that we can make sure that that inclusive growth includes smaller enterprises further down the value chain.
Whitfield adds that beneficiation in critical sectors of the South African economy is also key.
How do we ensure value addition from the minerals that we do have, whether our export partners are China or the United States? How do we ensure that we export a finished product or a semi-finished product rather than the raw materials that are leaving our country without that downstream benefit into our economy?
The Association of Women in Mining of South Africa is, however, not convinced that inclusivity will be high on the agenda, specifically in the mining industry.
Honestly, we should look at the funding part of it. Because I cannot export, or we can't even export, we can't even work, we can't even do anything with our minerals. But if we don't have funding, then everything closes up for us. So they should really look at how do we get funded.
Modise says small business owners who are passionate about seeing the local economies grow by creating jobs from growing businesses are often sidelined in most discussions.
If you can check in our country how many women that are owning the mines, it's very rare. It's, particularly even in the whole Africa, we don't see women benefiting from the minerals that we have.
One academic says it's a similar story in the United States.
Too often, African Americans are left out of the conversation as it relates to international trade. If, from an African American standpoint, if we are not connected to the continent, we will be left out of the economy of the future.
He says many opportunities for deepened trade between SMMEs in South Africa, the rest of the continent, and the USA also exist in the cultural and entertainment sectors.
There is an opportunity definitely in the cultural economy. There's an opportunity in entertainment, because these are the sectors that African Americans dominate, but also in agriculture. We have historically Black colleges and universities that have been dedicated to agricultural education.
The chair of the Open Trade Group says for Black-owned SMMEs to benefit from AGOA, global trade must be digitalized for easier information sharing.
Our role is to ensure that we build a digital ecosystem that will enable small businesses to transform, become world-class, and then create a vehicle for them to export their goods across Africa, across the United States, or wherever these entrepreneurs would like to trade.
Maharaj says SMMEs must be assisted to play a meaningful role in initiatives such as AGOA.
Besides creating a world-class product, understanding the regulatory environment, how we could simplify that, make entrepreneurs better understand how those laws affect them, where are the opportunities.
Team South Africa will use the forum to advocate for an early renewal of the AGOA legislation for at least 10 years, with Whitfield adding that this aligns with the position of other African trade ministers. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Ntokozo Khumalo in Rustenburg.